Hi everyone, I'm doing a different kind of video today. This isn't a comedy video. I wanted to talk about something really serious that some of you have heard me talk about. You've heard me talk about my experience with rituals and the cult and exorcisms and my work in that area. So to say I am not a priest or a reverend or anything like that that knows how to perform an exorcism or necessarily is my religious belief. But for a time I was very interested in that. So when I was young and going to college, I managed to get under the tutelage of a priest who performs such exorcisms. I won't say what state or country or where this was for, privacy concerns. They didn't have me do much as far as the exorcism. My main job was, recording medical information. I would keep heart rate, temperature, keep track of breathing patterns. If there was any kind of audio recording, video recording, I would keep on that. And I guess I wanted to tell one story about this one girl. She was about a freshman at the time, and I guess we'll call her Mary. Mary's an easy name to just. So Mary was having issues, and I guess through the course of talking with her family and whatever, it eventually came down to they were religious and they wanted to try performing an exorcism. They thought she was being bothered by a spirit or a demon of some kind. The trouble breathing at night, like night terrors and sleepwalking and really lashing out, having waking dreams in school, hurting people, like being asleep at their desk and someone would try to tap them and they'd immediately strike out. So it was getting worse. So that's when, me and we'll just call him Father Jones. It's an anonymous name. Me and Father Jones went to go help Mary. And by the time we got there, it was getting much worse. Mary was out of school for 2 days, and so we didn't get there till, they were out of school Thursday, Friday, and we got there on Sunday. And at that point, Mary was not really eating, and not really just doing well as a person. And you could tell that they were sleep deprived, that they weren't sick too. I know what a sick person looks like. Like, I know how I feel. I'm sick, like the nose and everything. And I'm not a doctor. I'm not. So I don't want to say like, oh, I knew for sure they weren't ill with a virus, but I could just tell that's not what it was. It was something different. So we get there and we're assessing Mary. They're sitting in a chair in the family room, and it's almost like like I would describe it like an intervention, because I'm kind of a fly on the wall, and it was very awkward at times where, Father Jones goes, we're here to help you. We love you. Your family's here, and that's Mary's mom and dad, and I want to say uncle. Another family member was there that was around the parents' age, and I was in the room. So we all love you, and that's where I was like, I don't know you. and neither did Father Jones, though, which was interesting. That was part of what he did in the exorcism. And he very much believed in what he was doing. I don't want anyone to think, I know religion's a touchy subject, and I'm not a big fan of the Catholic Church, but Father Jones really, he he took people in, and Mary was a girl that needed someone to really hold their hand and look, people love you and care about you, and I want to help you, and he meant it very much. But this was not someone that, it wasn't drugs. I've seen people on drugs. I've been around all that. That just, these words, they didn't make Mary cry. Like when someone says, like, feels bad, they didn't make them dejected, like pushing it away. It was just an insane response. Like, you say these things, and it just looked like Mary was just smelling the room, and just, something else was going on. Love just didn't matter. And the presence of Father Jones made things better and worse. You could see that there was a person. Every now and then it would kind of stop. There would be hysterical crying, and then it would go back to just strange movements, strange facial expressions, and yeah, the speaking in tongues, which we weren't recording when we first sat down. But then, Father Jones, it's interesting. He was religious, but he was also scientific in a way. He wanted to have logs for things. So we didn't record some of what was happening, and that was, whatever. We got Mary down. We went to Mary's parents' room and had her in the bed, and there were, crosses, and there was other, religious paraphernalia. I don't really know it, but, Virgin Mary and things like that. And this Mary was reacting very negatively to it, and that's when the sort of writhing happened. It was at one point, Mary's body was on the bed, and they were moving around on the bed without really using their arms or legs. It was just all like torso and ab, and just, it was strange. I remember trying to write notes for it. So we weren't recording video on this one, and I'm keeping a log of what's happening. And at one point, I could tell the heart rate monitor had come off, and I'm writing down, subject is twisting their shoulders side to side, and as if to break free of something. We didn't have Mary tied down. There were no restraints. But there was this movement. It felt very much to Mary that they were being restrained. They could feel something gripping them. So I went over to get the heart rate monitor back on, and I saw it had come off. I just went to slip it back on, and me touching Mary, the scream that they made, it was, I don't know, it was horrifying. It was almost like a backwards inverted scream. Like it took my breath away. Like, I'm not even kidding. Like, the weird, like, inverted yell of Mary gaining air into their lungs. I lost my breath. I was winded. I had to sit down. I sat back and sat down, and I didn't know what just happened. you know, I'm, it's hard for me to think about it. Like, it was terrifying. And Father Jones, you know, he noticed, and he could tell I was breathing, and he says, I was like, Oliver, like, you need to step out. And I couldn't answer. So at the time, I was really scared because I wasn't thinking. Like, I couldn't speak. You know, it's, if you've ever had the wind knocked out of you, but like nothing hit me. You know, like I've been hit in the gut and had the wind knocked out of me. Mary didn't hit me. They just did this scream that literally stole the air from my body. So I I was, I remember like shaking my head and just kind of like trying to act like I was okay. And eventually, I got back over to the table where I was keeping all the notes and everything, and I waited a little bit longer, and I was obviously breathing like slowly and then rapidly and everything. I was coming back, and Father Jones is doing all the stuff he's doing, which was getting reactions out of Mary. And then once I was breathing again, and there was kind of a calmness. Father Jones says, are you okay? What's going on? And I said, the heart rate monitor is no longer attached. I tried to reattach it, and he's like, yeah. And it's like, it's okay. We'll do without it. Don't touch Mary. And he's like, just monitor breathing and etc. And it still stays with me. Like it's still. I don't know. I mean, he was doing everything he could do, like talking about love, talking about all the powers of God and all that. And I'm not really sure what I believe, whether I believe it's real. It's all kind of a blur after that. I just tried to do my job of, helping, being a helping hand, getting ice and water and being a monitor between these two people. Father Jones is also doing what he. I mean, he was older, and like if he would kneel, I would help him back up. Just simple things like that, a little here and there. But Mary got through it, and eventually, through some kind of burning and water ceremony, we burned something and we poured water on Mary. That's what settled them down, and that was that exorcism experience. And that's the, like, there's one more where like nothing really happened and I thought the kid was faking it, and there's another that I don't know if I'm ready to get into, but that's one that was, I'm willing to talk about, and I don't think the people involved will be embarrassed or bothered. We helped someone. I barely did anything, but that's it's a power. It's out there. There's something,